Hey guys, it's Sandro here, and today's video is a review and demonstration of CarPro's new InnerQD Interior Quick Detailer. So let's start with the basics. InnerQD is essentially a quick detail spray similar in purpose to a more standard exterior quick detailer, but formulated for interior car use. So it's used for mild interior cabin cleaning, such as removing light dust, fingerprints, streaks, and really any mild forms of contamination. It's additionally used to lay down some temporary UV or sacrificial protection to various car interior trims and materials, and lastly, to mildly enhance or restore a matte or satin factory finish to the interior. So in other words, it's a bit of an all-in-one clean, protect, and enhance interior quick detailer used in between more thorough interior cleaning and protection processes that has the added benefit of reducing dust accumulation and has sanitation benefits of reducing bacteria or microorganism growth according to CarPro. For those of you that are interested, it is a pH neutral or balanced product coming in with a pH rating of 7. So let's jump straight into its application and user experience. InnerQD is used with more or less a spray and wipe application, meaning that you can spray it directly on the surface or directly onto a microfiber cloth. Wipe it over the surface to lightly clean and lay it down, and then flip your cloth or use a second cloth to buff it streak-free. So the whole idea of InnerQD is that it should be quick, easy, and hassle-free to apply, so that you can go over the entire interior of a car in quite a short time in a maintenance process. Now just before I continue, I want to be clear that this is a product review, like many I do, where I'm exploring a product and trying to at least in part take you through that testing and discovery journey. What this means is that at times I will be using this product in an unorthodox or off-label manner, maybe using it excessively or even sparingly and not necessarily how the manufacturer intended. I do this because this is how I personally obtain the best possible information. It's about exploring boundaries and trying to understand how products perform and behave in various applications. Now with that said, what I noticed while using InnerQD in both indoor and outdoor environments was that it's super easy to level down regardless of whether it's a hard, non-porous plastic, wood, metal, or softer vinyl, leather, or fabric, and even regardless of whether you use it light or heavy-handed. I also noticed that even if you rush a little and don't level down an area quite as well as you should, it tends to self-level pretty well on its own, at least for the most part, meaning that you can move pretty quickly as long as you get it 90% wiped down, and the last 10% tends to take care of itself. I also found that any drips or overspray droplets were easily addressed by just going over them a second time, so chemical staining really shouldn't be an issue, at least within reason. So you do get a sense that it's a pretty light, hassle-free application, unlike more aggressive interior cleaners and more durable interior sealants or coatings that don't have the same forgiveness or ease of application. I also have to say that I absolutely love the mild sweet lemon scent that's so close to a glass of fresh lemonade. It's such a nice scent while you're using it, but I'd say within a day or so it largely dissipates, though there's a more subtle freshness that seems to linger on for a week or so inside the cabin. So all in all, as far as the user experience goes, I think a lot of people are going to enjoy using it, and it's very unlikely you'd have any issues or difficulties. Maybe if it's a hot, windy environment, it might be best to spray it directly onto a cloth and work smaller sections, and maybe if you don't like the smell of lemonade, it might not be your thing. But I think that CarPro has nailed the ease and enjoyment of its application. So let's now get more into the use, performance, and results you can expect from InnerQD. Firstly, let's start with where or on what materials you can use it. The simple answer is pretty much everywhere. I tried it on carpets, fabrics, plastics, leathers, metals, paints, and clear coats, and even on mirrors and digital screens. I almost feel like it's got some sort of drying or leveling aid, as you definitely see that it doesn't tend to smear all that much on glass or screens, but rather finish streak-free pretty easily. Maybe not quite as well as a glass cleaner, but honestly not all that far off. The other thing you will notice is that unlike a standard interior cleaner, InnoQD definitely has some lubrication you can feel while using it, as well as on the surface and in its finish. Now it's not like it leaves a super slick finish because it doesn't, but there is a mild reduced friction or smoothness left behind which you can feel on the surface after use, which is kind of nice. Now although I wouldn't necessarily recommend using InnoQD with more aggressive detailing brushes or even the CarPro Inner Scrub glove, as it's really not a deep cleaning chemical as such, I also wouldn't necessarily oppose it, as I did give it a go and I was actually surprised at how much dirt I was pulling up, that compared to something like CarPro Inside, it's really not in the same cleaning league. I did however find a few instances like perforated leathers, air vents and other intricate areas where a small gentle detailing brush did help clean the trims better and seemed to work pretty well and not really add too much time to the process. I think if I was to rate its cleaning ability and performance, I'd say it's probably closer to something like a waterless wash, maybe CarPro Echo being a close example, in that it helps encapsulate dirt for safer removal rather than break it down or dissolve it like a more standard interior cleaner. I also think its residue is much easier and quicker to remove and definitely self-levels closer to something like CarPro Clarify, but even then it's still a little different. So after testing it out on quite a few interiors and various materials, I did get the sense that it's a light, safe and hassle-free maintenance cleaner that can be used on just about any surface, and I'm sure that with regular use it can largely reduce the need for more aggressive and time-consuming cleaners and processes. So let's look a little more at the finish, look and protection side of InnoQD. Something I did find really interesting is that when I applied it to new or good condition interior plastics, vinyls or leathers, it really didn't seem to change their appearance in any noticeable way. It just seemed to clean and reset the look of those trims without really altering or impacting their finish. However, when I tried this same thing on older, neglected or weathered interior plastics, vinyls and leathers, it was a very different outcome in that it left quite a noticeable darkening, saturation and light satin sheen effect, improving their look quite substantially by comparison. So it would seem that unlike most interior dressings or coatings, even citing CarPro's own pearl and leather, they tend to have a more noticeable or universal finish regardless of the trim. InnoQD seems, at least to a greater level, to rely on the condition of the trim in regards to whether or not you will see much of a difference in its appearance. So to put it simply, it would appear that it just maintains new interior trims while it tends to restore older ones. I can also tell you that when applying it to new or near new interiors, I saw no benefit in using more product or even spraying it directly on the trims. Whereas on older or aged interior trims, I definitely saw an improvement in using more product and even going over those trims a second time, which was also quite interesting. So once again, to simplify that, the better condition of the interior, the less product you need, while the worse condition of the interior, using more product can result in a better outcome. But more generally, I'd say that if you're looking for a gloss finish, look elsewhere, as even at the best of times, InnoQD falls into the matte to satin factory finish look as far as sheen is concerned. So compared to something like CarPro Pearl, you'd probably have to dilute pearl somewhere between 1 to 5 to even 1 to 10 to get a similar finish to InnoQD, but even then, it's still not quite the same in looks or feel. Now look guys, I did a bunch of other testing on various trims, comparing InnoQD to both interior cleaners and protectants, and even looking at water behavior, which I know may sound nuts, but it actually helps identify certain performance characteristics like its repelling nature, durability, and how it behaves layered over other products and impacts a bunch of other things. Now I'm not going to go over all that testing, but just try and share my findings. So what I can say based on all that testing is that when using InnoQD over more durable interior sealants and coatings, such as CarPro, Pearl and Leather, it applied just as easy, if not easier and quicker, and also didn't seem to largely affect or change their appearance and behaviour in any substantial way, but rather just mildly clean, restore and enhance them with minimal influence. I can also confirm that InnoQD on its own will definitely repel liquids or spills much better than bare trims, but not quite as good as CarPro Pearl and definitely not as good as CarPro Leather, and also not as good as InnoQD applied over them. The other two important claims that CarPro makes about InnoQD is that it firstly kills and inhibits microorganism growth, and that it's secondly anti-static and reduces dust accumulation. Now look guys, as far as bacteria or microorganism growth is concerned, I'm just going to have to take CarPro's word for it as I don't have the equipment to test that out. But I'm guessing with the world's recent pandemic event, this can only be a good thing. But I have to confess that although it did seem like the interiors I used it on were resisting dust buildup weeks later, I did try and capture some 50-50 dust shots of treated and untreated areas and just came up short, not able to either confirm or debunk this claim, as I just didn't get enough dust building up, meaning that the results were inconclusive. So unfortunately, I can't give you any evidence about these sanitation or anti-static claims, but I'd like to think that CarPro has done the appropriate testing to back up these claims. I really don't know what else to say about InnoQD except that I really enjoyed using it. The smell and freshness combined with the ease of use and the subtle but still noticeable cleaning and finishing improvements just makes it quite satisfying and a joy to use. And that's nothing to overlook, as when you enjoy using a product and don't feel intimidated or stressed by it, you're likely to use it more often and less likely to look at it as a chore. And I have to say that I did find it quite therapeutic to use, which is always nice. I can also share, based on using it on my own daily and weekend drivers, that anywhere from a week to a month is what you can expect in its look, finish and freshness to last. And that the 500ml bottle I used to quick detail 5 car interiors is still about 2/3 full, meaning that half a litre could get you about 15 interiors. And if anyone out there has tried it, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. I think I'll leave it there guys, and if you enjoyed this video and would like to say thanks and help support future content, you can do so by buying me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/ccad, in which I'll have a link to in the description box, and thank you everyone for the support so far. As always, I really hope you guys enjoyed and found this video useful. Please share it with others, give it a like and comment below to show support for this content, and I'll see you guys soon.